magnificent morning, fantastic afternoon, and wonderful evening. This is Carla from MindPlore with Carla and Friends. We have been having people with internet issues today. So that's why we're late. Mine is working, I believe. But when the workmen were here, they asked me if it was working, and I thought so. And then it was hard getting them out. And then Pastor Billy forgot about the time change and didn't realize it was an hour earlier. And it's just been a ball of changes. But do we have to be happy because everything is going right? Or should we be happy regardless? I know I got a little touchy with Kamran and Pastor Billy because they were late. But the important thing is, should that ruin our happiness? Should it be based on the conditions that we are thrown into? Or should it be based on wanting to feel good regardless of the conditions? I am asking that question, and I want good answers from everyone, because we always think, oh, if I get this now, I'm going to be happy. Why not be happy? And when it comes, be even happier. Know that whatever we want in our lives will come to us, regardless of what we're thinking. Having said that, let's start with one of the ladies, Shivali. What should it be? Should it be conditional or should it be unconditional?
Thank you, Carla, and good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. This is Shivali from India. A very interesting topic which has been taken up. I think it started on Tuesday, and today I've joined the session. The two things which are striking me, the words rather, is this conditioned or non-conditional. You know, whether we accept it or not, we as souls, we are conditioned souls. So I would like to start from that perspective. We are conditioned souls. Why do I say this? That even though we are part and parcel of the divine, of God, we are a spark of the divine, yet when we are born in this physical dimension, somehow the soul seems to forget. When we enter this material body, we seem to forget our connection with the source, with the divine, with God. So as a result, we are born conditioned. Now, when we are talking in terms of happiness, so this soul of mine, which is in this body, I'm experiencing everything around me through this physical dimension. So what is happening? I'm caught up by the material energy around me. I'm caught up by what the Rishi Munis would call Maya. You call it temporary illusion or whatever, but it's a reality for us right now. So when it comes to happiness, human beings, right from the time they are born, they're looking for happiness. Even a small baby, if a baby is unwell or is hungry, it cries, it does not feel happy. So when the food is provided, the milk is provided, or what the water is provided, or the medicine is given, the child becomes happy. Likewise, as we are growing, we get conditioned more and more. So somehow this phrase that whether happiness is conditioned or non-conditioned, it's ingrained in us. But the possibility of enjoying pure bliss, pure joy, whether in our relationships, whether in our dealings with the world around us, is a possibility. There is a possibility. But somehow we are conditioned to this thing of give and take. We condition ourselves because somehow it happens, it's natural. So we have to actually today talk about this and understand whether it is possible for us to uncondition ourselves first. Only if we can uncondition our mind. The mind is playing the major role here. Then only we can understand whether happiness, actually it shouldn't be. We should be finding simple things. Like if I look at a tree or an animal or a bird, uh, there's no condition. The tree has no condition. Nature has no condition. It does not set up any conditions for us. That means that is what this energy, this cosmic energy in vibrations is all about. Then why is it that as human beings, we are always looking out for gratification? Happiness is a kind of a gratification for us. So if I'm feeling hungry, I need food, it gratifies me, I get joy. If I don't get it, that means there's a condition. So this conditioning and unconditioning is something which makes me think. I don't have the answer right now, but I'm thinking. So hopefully by sharing all of your views also, I hope to get some clarity on this. Thank you.
Interesting thought. Rubina.
Thank you so much for having me again. As we spoke about it on Tuesday a lot. First of all, I want to say that today we're having some wonderful people, so I would like to listen more and speak less
No,
today.
Rubina.
But no, I'm going to share my point of view anyways, but I would like to listen more. So I was thinking about, I would like to share today about my personal experience, you can say, or personal observation from my own life. Like a few years ago, when I did not have this realization about there is some big purpose of our life, of human beings. It's above and beyond these mundane things of eating, sleeping, and excreting and reproducing, which animals do. Uh, so in the past, I was my happiness was more. It was depending on the things around me, the people around me, the events happening to me. If I will be able to get something, if I will be able to achieve some goal, or if someone is going to treat me well, then I'll be happy. And if something bad happens, although even today, like now, something bad happens to me, I feel it, I feel bad. But now I realized that how to detach myself, my inner self, from my external world. So as much as possible, although it's not possible fully, but we can do that. So I remember that for me, life, my emotional life was a kind of a roller coaster. It's getting too happy or too excited if something good happens, and then again getting back to that sadness, and because you depend too much on your external world, or what happens around you, outside of you. So then I realized that I learned two things, like how to believe in Allah. Although I was a believer, but just by name, I wasn't a true believer. Now I feel that I wasn't a true believer. Like when you believe, you actually, it's not that you don't have desires or you don't have any wish. I always have a long wish list, and I have so many desires that if I will get that, I will be able to achieve that goal. I will feel so happy. If I will get that thing, I will be happy. But now I learned that how to believe in God, and how, when we ask, when we pray, and after that, how to surrender fully with full faith, and leave it to Allah and God, or God, that if that thing what I'm desiring, I desire for, is coming to me, or whether it's not coming to me, something else is coming to me, I should believe, and I should have a full faith that He is the best planner, and He will bless me with what is best for me. So when we realize this thing and we learn it, it gives us, I'm not using the word happiness, but it gives us a state peace, a peaceful mind or a peaceful heart. We feel more at peace. And I remember in the past, throughout my life, when I was able to achieve something or I get something which I thought that it will give me happiness, that happiness when I get it was so temporary. It wasn't happiness, it was just excitement. It's sometimes it's just for a few seconds and it vanishes, it goes away. Like you get something and it goes away. There was no happiness then.
Hmm.
So, but now when I learned it and how to be at peace, that feeling of happiness is something else. It gives so much calmness, and it persists for a long time, and it takes me. Previously, it was like, oh, not a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. Well, so what? What next? What next? But now when I get it, it takes me to that state of paying gratitude, into the gratitude. Oh, I was not, like, as if I wasn't, I did not deserve it, and what I get, it so much for me. So it's, once you realize it, it's a big, it's like a big game changer. At least for me, it was. So that's how and I'm still learning. It's not that I don't get affected by people around me. Someone says something, I'm so sensitive, I get affected, but I try to, because I realized it, that how peace is more important than running for excitement or joy or pleasure or happiness. So I try to get rid of those emotions as soon, bad emotions, negative emotions, as soon as possible, and get back to that peace again. So that's how I think about it. And I would like to listen to, as I said, I would like to listen today more than speaking.
Right.
It goes both ways.
Yeah. I want to hear what Kamran has to say.
Kamran, are you there or are you frozen?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. And lovely to listen to Shivali after a long while, and also to Rubina. And thanks, Carla, for giving me the opportunity. As I was listening, I came across a thought, which was life is a contrast. And contrast means that in order to appreciate one thing, the absence of it will enable and accentuate that. So, I mean, sadness, sorrows, joys, happiness, they're all a package. And I feel that the sustaining feature through the thick and thin of life is gratitude. Gratitude in its deepest sense is to be appreciative of what one has at all times. My mom used to say, oh, you know, be happy in whatever state you're in. And I thought that that only was possible when I was in a state of gratitude. And I'm mindful of the fact that I'm alive. So long as I'm alive, I have choices. And if I have choices, I can choose to interpret events in a way which will keep me alive, awake, and constructive. So, for instance, I either win or lose. Now, that win or lose mindset doesn't help. But if I say I win or learn, that does help. Likewise, you know, things don't happen to me, they happen for me. The moment I transfer that understanding into a very useful experience, then it enriches me. I'm a human being, I make mistakes, and when I make mistakes, I learn from them. And I find that ego comes in the way sometimes of happiness, because ego is what is connected to the material, to the superficial, to the outer world. And humility is what allows us to take in the breadth of life and its full glory. And if you look at seasons, I think that's a great metaphor too. I mean, Shivali was talking of nature as an example of how they are in a particular state all the time. But in season, there are changes. I mean, you see plants in full bloom, trees that are bearing fruit, they're green. And when autumn arrives, wow, I mean, the whole scenery changes. And then there are some trees that just go naked. completely, and all you see is branches sticking out. And then comes spring, and then you see the bloom again. So I have a feeling that if we keep contrasts in mind, then we start to look at the whole package of life. And that package is what gives us the baseline happiness, which is really stemming from gratitude. And, absence of something makes the heart grow fonder as well. And the joy in the journey of achieving something, whether or not one achieves it, is not the issue. The fun is in the journey itself. And once you attain whatever you were pursuing, then you seek something else. So I find it's not in the attainment that you experience happiness, it's in the process. And these are some of the thoughts that I wanted to share at this point.
So is happiness based on the condition? Or is it based on the contrast that you feel within your own self?
As I see it, Carla, I feel that it is highly unconditional, like love. I need to love regardless. And it's only when I do that, and love is not just going out from me to others, but it's also to myself. And the moment I start caring for myself and I become, grateful, again, is the bigger word for me, grateful for what I have and the fact that I can do something. There's no conditionality in that. The fact that one is breathing and one is alive. So for me, there's no good weather or bad weather. All weathers are, cold or hot. So long as I can survive it, it's an experience. And I think experience in itself is what we need to enjoy. You are either learning from it or you're excited by it. But that experience is what makes life have the taste of, the savory, the bitter, the sweet, the sour, all of that. So life is a blend of so many things. And I feel that happiness is the sum total of that.
Okay, Pastor Billy, you've been.
Yeah, I am. I'm getting ready to burst because all of what you said is so exciting. I'm just drinking it in, and it's like what you've all have said. It's like trying to get a drink of water from a fire hose. If you've ever tried to do that, it's very difficult to do because the water's coming out. There's so much water and high pressure, and Rubina, Shivali, and Kamran, all of what you've said has just really been a blessing to me. And I like to memorize quotes that have meaning. And I like to memorize. Yeah, I'd like to memorize quotes that have meaning. I'm not sure what happened there, but I was hearing my own self. Yeah, but giving is the best part of living. Giving is the best part of living. And Kamran, what you just said, having a perspective of gratitude, and it's not about happiness is not based upon how many things I can accumulate, because guess what? I do a lot of funerals as a pastor. I do a lot of funerals, and I've never seen a truck behind a funeral hearse. I've never seen all of their belongings in a truck right behind the car that is carrying the casket, because we can't take it with us, right? So we need to give it all away while we're here on earth. It's not about accumulation. It's about gratitude. It's that giving is the best part of living. And our happiness should not be controlled or dictated by our circumstances, right? That's a great quote. Our happiness should not be controlled by our state of life. We should be happy all the time. Sure, there's from the Hebrew Bible, there's a great verse. There's a time to laugh and a time to cry. There's a time to do this and there's a time to do that. So living, when we live out our lives, giving should be the penultimate thing that we pursue, is giving of ourselves, even giving our material gifts away. And rather than accumulation, it should be giving. And of course, that's what I do for a living. I want to be giving all the time. And even when, and Kamran, you just mentioned this, even when I don't have a material gift to give someone, I can still give of myself, my time. I know my bride of 44 years, Nancy, she loves it when she says, look, don't bring me flowers, just bring me yourself, right? So my wife doesn't like flowers for some reason. So I don't buy her flowers. She doesn't like chocolate, so I don't buy her chocolate. She doesn't like gifts. She just wants me, right? She just wants my full attention and nothing else. So giving is the best part of living, and I'll leave it right there.
I like what you're saying, and I have a question about it. Giving is very, very important. The contrast that we see in life, we can see at any moment. At any moment, we can see someone being good, or we can see someone being bad. Even if they're doing an act of not so great, a bank robber, when he goes to rob a bank, is doing it because he loves his family and he thinks this is the best way to get the money. I'm not saying I agree and I'm telling people to go out and rob a bank today. That's not where I'm coming from. But we can always see the contrast. Is happiness because of that, of seeing the contrast, or is it because you want something to happen? I have been asked to come to Pakistan for over 5 years now. It looks like it's going to be happening. Am I happy because I'm going? Or am I happy because it's something that I have wanted to do for many years? Mm-hmm. I don't think it really matters, the contrast, but it's the contrast in how we look at things that we see it as happy or unhappy. What do you think, Pastor Billy?
I have a philosophy that I'm always happy. I'm never unhappy. I mean, sure, there's times, if a loved one dies, sure, I'm going to be sorrowful. I'm going to cry. When I work with the refugees, I just came back from Nigeria, working with refugees and people that are victims of persecution. Yeah, that makes me not happy, but yet it's my responsibility in those situations to bring happiness into that situation, rather than making everyone sad. So you can use the word happy, you can use the word positivity, to be positive when other people are very negative. I also like to say that another way of looking at this is that in sad situations or in unhappy situations, I want to bring in God's love. And, whenever you bring God's love to a situation, it's immediately going to make people happy. And I also have to remember that I think generally most people around the world are not happy because they're unsatisfied for some reason. So we have to find satisfaction and happiness outside of material goods and material things. And I'll leave it here. Here's another great quote. Most of the rich and wealthy people I've met in my lifetime they are some of the most unhappy people that I've ever met. And yet, when I meet someone who's poor, that doesn't have a lot of money, they're very happy. And I think that material goods, they weigh people down, because when we have a lot of material goods, it's too much responsibility. So that's why I try to get rid of material goods and get out of the mindset of accumulation.
How can we help people understand that? And people, if you shared out the show, it would be wonderful if you did.
Well, I think we have to live by example, right? Because people are always looking at us. We have to live by example.
What do you think, Rubina? Is it by example that we live, or do we live because, I want this, I want that? Is it what you want that makes you happy? Or is it just being alive?
I totally agree what Pastor Billy said. I don't know how to, like, I can only reword it, but it's something marvelous. Like, it's about giving. And yes, it's true that materialistic things makes us more unhappy. More we desire for more and more, and it increases. That desire, it actually increases. So I don't remember the exact words of this Rumi's quote, that if something makes you happy in this world, you should think about, if that thing is taken from you, then what will happen to you. So so how can we, and he is so right, that we can only influence people by our own example, our actions, not just words. Words at the end do not count. It's actually, people look at us like, what we are saying is how our own life, how our own lifestyle is. And we can influence everybody around us through our actions, our habits. So we can change, we can bring change around us through our own example. And how can we be happy if we want everybody else around us to get influenced by us? Then how, first we have to change ourselves, and how can that be possible? So I think it's by thinking about what we have in this present moment. I should think about myself, like what I have, instead of thinking about what I do not have, instead of thinking from a place of lack or scarcity, thinking like, if I will get it, if I will achieve that goal, if that person will do that, I will be happy. I should think about what right now I'm having, and do not focus on those material things. Focus on even this life is the biggest blessing. And then if I'm healthy, I'm having a healthy life, I'm not sick, I don't have, there's so many people around me. Right now I'm in touch with some people. One, a lady who is suffering from stage 3 or stage 4 cancer. She's fighting it, and I'm trying to help her to do meditations to learn and how to fight it. Then there's a young boy, 22 years old, who is fighting a gene-linked disease. Imagine how his life is. And he's also fighting it. I'm trying to help him as much as possible. So
that's the point. People get upset because, I have cancer. I'm not saying they shouldn't be upset about cancer. I have cancer, I can't be happy. Or I don't have enough money to do something, I cannot be happy. Does the happiness depend on being sick or not being sick? Does the happiness depend on whether you have the money to do something? I don't think it's conditional. I'm sorry to interrupt you, and everyone's saying should. You should be this, you should be that, you should be giving, you should be loving. there are people who I really love a lot who act like complete idiots at times. Does that keep me from loving them? No. I mean, there are people who have told me that I should have nothing to do with my best friend because the person is rather erratic. Should I listen to them or should I go by what my heart says? Should we listen to our hearts or should we listen to what other people say? I grew up with a mom who said, oh, you listen to what other people say and then make a decision. That didn't bring a lot of happiness, I'll be honest. But I grew up hearing that. What do you think, Shivali?
Thank you, Carla. So much has been said. I was just trying to, figure it out that how do I put it in the words now? So I'll try my best. Excuse me if I'm not able to do it, but everyone has spoken. I'm overwhelmed. That's the word I will say. It started with what Rubina said when she was speaking about flickering joy, flickering happiness, not getting the satisfaction. Temporary. Yes, conditioned souls will experience this. It's temporary. And then her realization, and not just her realization. I think most of us start these realizations that we have not fully understood what is true happiness. And that's the reason we keep on searching for more and more. For some, it could be money. For some, it could be some other acquisition, whatever our deep desires. And the wonderful part is that God helps us to fulfill all our wishes. And yet, we forget the basic thing, which Kamranji had pointed out, and Reverend also pointed out about gratitude. You know, where we are running after things, whereas we are not looking at what we have, and what we can actually do for so many others who may not have what I have, right? How we can contribute. And what Reverend said was reminding me that yes, we have to put God at the center of everything. I know there are many viewers who say, oh, again, she speaks about God. That's okay. I am a firm believer, and my life has also made me experience a lot. So, coming back to what the Reverend said, and a little earlier, what Kamranji was saying about nature, how nature is constantly changing, like winter leads to spring, and so on. It's an eternal cycle. It's an eternal cycle. So, we human beings can learn so much from nature, right? And yet, nature gives. That word gives, gratitude gives, God. I see three G's over here. So it was all getting connected in my mind. And I was like, I said, if Carla doesn't say speak, I'll probably, I'll go into a different mood altogether. So, yes, my realization at this point is that happiness is a state of being, irrespective of our situations, irrespective of our circumstances. If we learn to be happy, what a wonderful world we can create for ourselves and for others. And for this, God consciousness is needed. That spiritual consciousness is needed. And as Reverend is doing through his services, reaching out, that passing on the message of love, because God's love for us is unconditional. It exists because it is love. It is conditioned, non-conditioned. This word cannot coexist with the love of God for us. And he's passing this message to each and every person he's meeting. Likewise, we can also do the same in a little community that we have, or the little world that we have of ours, if we could reach out. And I think then we will experience true happiness. In giving, we will receive. It's natural, it's going to be spontaneous. Otherwise, as Carla has pointed out, like you keep on being unhappy about things. So I think it's beautifully said by everyone.
Mm,
Thank you.
mm.
Kamran?
Yes, I mean, if I base my remarks around what I've heard from Pastor Billy, Rubina, Shivali, and you, your thought-provoking questions, Carla, I would say that, if I'm not happy with what I have, then how can I be happier by having more? Having doesn't solve the problem. And having a set of relationships, or having a bank balance, or having a particular kind of house or a location where I'd like to live. Yeah, happiness has everything to do with my relationship with what is within me and around me. And I believe like gratitude is a key word, giving is a key word. Um, and then of course, I feel that relationships is also a very key word. How do we relate to nature? How do we relate to ourselves? How do we relate to other people? And that, if it is transactional, I'm afraid it's not going to lead to any happiness, because transactional is what brings in the conditionality. It is to be the light and emit that light, whether people wish to be illuminated or not. And you, by definition, will make a difference wherever you go. And often people find such talk to be quite idealistic, and they say, well, you can't change the world. There's so much happening out there. Well, if you can't change the world, please change the world for someone. And surely we all can make a difference in the life of someone. Just by giving a smile or patting on the back, encouraging remark. We all need reassurance from time to time.
Yes.
And if we are aware that happiness is a state of being, as Shivali mentioned, then we need to be in that state where through our very presence, people are encouraged to want to live, and live in a more responsible, in a more constructive way, and feel happy about the fact that they're alive and they can do things. And hope is something that connects. And I'm sure that Pastor Billy will agree with me that stems from faith in ourselves, faith in others, faith in the future, faith in God. And when we don't have any hope, that is when despair sets in. That's when we start suffering from mental health issues and we go into blind alleys. So it's important to have faith in order to have hope. And it is only when we are hopeful about the future that we dream. Yeah. And those dreams, when they're beautiful, that's when we convert them into a vision and set goals and get on with our lives, and are very inclusive. We need to be inclusive, because the funny thing is that you cannot enjoy anything if you can't share it. And that's where the giving comes in. And the best part I find about life is that when you share joys, they multiply. And when you share sorrows, they halve. And the act of sharing is so interesting. It's the same. But when you share in something, joy multiplies, pain and sorrow halves. How interesting that is. I mean, God is so kind.
Yeah, and wow, if I could respond, here's another great saying: gratitude is my attitude. Gratitude is my attitude. And when we think about, I'm always thinking about in popular culture, in pop culture, what, and that's how we relate to people sometimes. And God just brought to my mind two songs. There was an old song from the Beatles. You remember the Beatles, right? The Beatles singing group. And one of their songs was, all you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. And there was another song, it's probably from the 80s, the 1980s. It was entitled, Don't Worry, Be Happy. Don't worry, be happy. And so gratitude is my attitude, and I love acronyms, and Kamran was just sharing about hope. And I love an acronym. And again, this is from my Christian context, the acronym for joy, the acronym for joy. So you have J, you have O, and you have Y. And that's how I want to live my life, is filled with joy. And again, in my context, J is for Jesus, O is for others, and Y is for yourself. So God comes first, other people come second, and then I'm not that I'm last, but I need to be concerned with downloading, as Shivali said, downloading happiness to other people. And you know, that takes a that takes an active mind to think about, well, how can I share happiness with someone else? And even though I may not have anything to give, I don't have any something material to give, I don't have money to give, I don't have a gift, but I think we should see the happiness within ourselves, that is a gift to other people. We can be a gift just in and of ourselves. And if gratitude is our attitude, then we can share that non-material item with other people. So let gratitude be our attitude.
Rubina.
Yes.
And Carla, I'm taking notes here. That's why you're seeing me looking down. I'm taking notes about all the great things that everyone's saying. Carla's always asking me, why am I not looking into the camera?
So I
Go ahead,
love what, sorry for that. So I love what Kamran said, that sharing. So, and that's what Pastor Billy was talking about also, like giving. And yes, sharing and giving is the thing that gives the best kind of happiness. That's my personal experience. Not getting, not achieving, not those materialistic things, but when you give and when you share, and it's not giving materialistic things, it's giving whatever you have. If you have some time for someone, give it. If you have, you can give love, they're like children around you. If you can give some respect, giving and sharing is the best thing to feel that happiness. And another thing is gratitude. Try to be in present moment, and focus on what you have, what I have right now, and try to be thankful for whatever blessings I'm having, whatever blessings God has given me right now. It gives me that sense of satisfaction and fulfillment, which is so important to enjoy later on whatever is coming to me. So it gives me peace, it gives me that fulfillment and satisfaction, and I'll be able to enjoy and be happy more when I'll get more and more, even in terms of materialistic things. That happiness will not be like I already mentioned, and Shivali talked about it. It's not that mere excitement just for a few seconds. It will take me to more towards gratitude, and which brings more peace and more calmness. And we can only leave ourselves as an example for others. If we do it, if I do it, I don't have to say it to others. Others will follow it, others will see it, and they will get influenced by it.
Yes, that's great.
I would, yes, Rubina, yes, you said it very beautifully. And what Reverend was saying a little while ago, when he mentioned that, if you don't have a gift for someone, give your time, give your love, give your attention, that just that pat on the back sometimes, just your silence, your presence beside that person makes a difference. And here I would like to add, Rubina, what you said just now. Let's see, what is happening is that we are depending on the externals, right? We are searching. Like if I had more money, I would be happy. It's important to have these things also. It's only the problem is then when the greed comes in. We are not happy. We want more and more and more. There is no harm in having a lot of money, right? Money is good. It's wonderful. And that money can actually be utilized in service. It can be used in service of people. You're serving God by doing it also, right?
Mhm.
That is the true purpose of life also. That brings us to our purpose of life, that as human beings, as souls, we are souls, we all know that, in human bodies. So why is it that we get, bogged down by the external? Because we are searching for that which is temporary. But if we realize that, yes, whatever success I'm getting in life, whatever resources I have in life, the money that I have, my education, all these should be utilized in the service of God, in
Mm.
serving humanity. Therein lies the key to true happiness. It's a state of being, that is why they say. And it's, that is why we do meditations, we do prayers, because it helps to connect us with our inner self. It helps us to realize that we are a part and parcel of God. And what is the true purpose of my life?
Mm.
Then everything that we have in terms of material or non material things can be utilized in the service of God.
Mm.
And that is true happiness. That is, therein lies the human revolution also, the internal and the external.
Mm.
So I hope I've been able to put in something today.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Can you imagine if we lived in a world, whether you're in Pakistan, India, Canada, the USA, wherever, can you imagine if we lived in a world where everyone in the world, their goal was to share happiness with other people? Wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, we'd be living in paradise. And so I could say that, well, what can I do? Well, happiness is infectious. Happiness is going viral in a good way. And so if I'm happy and I'm sharing happiness with other people, then it's going to be infectious and my life can impact others. But if I go around and I've got a long face and I'm just critical and I'm yelling at people all day long and do this and do that, well, I'm not going to have any friends, right? And so love always attracts people. And when we have God's love in our heart, wow, that's like loving people on steroids. That is like we can share God's love with people, then we're going to attract a lot of people. And even when we're sitting with someone who is going through a sorrowful time in their life, sometimes we don't even need to use words. We can hug them. We can hold their hand. We can just be with them to comfort them. And I believe that that's a form of sharing happiness, sharing God's love, sharing the happiness that's within our heart, sharing God's love that's in our heart. And it's transformational, right? I mean, we're talking about transforming the world. We want this world to be a better place. So how can we transform the world? And it always starts with one person, right? And it starts with one person who has the fire within themselves to want to share happiness, to want to share God's love. So, yeah, if I could just use a historical illustration, I think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was only one person, and yet he turned a nation upside down. We know that Mahatma Gandhi, there in India, turned a nation upside down. And so it really only takes one person. We don't have to wait for a great crowd of people. But it really begins with us, doesn't it? It begins with us. It begins with me and my responsibility to share God's love and to share the happiness that I have with other people.
Yes, Reverend, that word responsibility, that's also very striking. that responsibility, that feeling, that thing, the purpose, that responsibility of sharing. Let me bring more joy in others' life. So
Yeah.
beautifully said by you. Thank you.
And that desire in my life, that desire and that passion, where does that come from? I believe it comes from God. And again, in my context, it comes from the love of Jesus. So it comes out of my heart, and I can communicate that to other people. And then I even get more joy and more happiness when I do that.
Yes.
So it's opening up the heart. Kamran, you've been quiet.
In times like this, it's best to be quiet. You learn a lot. And I must say that Pastor Billy and Shivali, Rubina, they're all sparked up in a way that I'm glad I came on the show. What I would like to add are two things. One is what Bob Marley is known to have said. Some people are so poor that all they have is money. And I think
Bob Marley said that, Kamran?
yes.
Could you repeat that? I got to write that down.
Yeah. Some people are so poor that all they have is money. So I thought that was fascinating. And the other thought that came to mind about happiness was, teachers. And I think in some ways we're all teachers here on this panel. And a lot of our friends listening would also be teachers. My parents are teachers of their own kids and nephews and nieces, etc. So when you look at teachers, the one thing about teachers is that they find joy and happiness in the way their students flourish.
Yes.
And they seek, they don't burn inside when they see someone else succeed. For them, it is worth more than anything in the world to see their students do well in life. And when they meet up 10 years, 20 years later, or when they receive a letter of acknowledgement that, sir or madam, I just wanted to thank you for, opening my mind to something. And as a result, this is what I'm being able to do. So happiness of a teacher or happiness of a doctor who sees his or her patient recover fully is unbelievable. Or the joy of an architect who sees the structure that he envisioned or she envisioned in his or her head actually out there manifest. It's brilliant. And happiness really does come from giving, as Pastor Billy was saying, and Shivali has underlined that, and Rubina picked up on the sharing part and the fact that having is not the answer. We don't acknowledge. The world is at our feet. We don't acknowledge that. The star is decorated. The sky is decorated for us. We don't acknowledge it. We have the whole universe at our service. And yet we think we're alone and we have nothing. That is sad. I mean, we truly are living the most beautiful virtual reality. And if we don't enjoy this virtual reality, then I think we'll miss out on the fun that we're going to have in this playground. Because soon all of us will go to heaven. And when we are there, it's a different dimension, which I cannot even speak about, but it's going to be brilliant.
And that's very true. Our lives are our lives. And how we look at our lives and that happiness is how we live our lives. If we look at lack, there's lack. If we look at abundance of everything we have, then we become very abundant. And it's a growth from knowing that we control our thoughts to be happy, or we can control our thoughts to be sad. Mm-hmm. My mom was very good at finding lack. Not because she wanted to, but she just knew that, this could be better. I have a friend, and it drives me nuts. you could look out and see a blue sky and she'll see the big cloud. And it cracks me up. I once asked her, okay, what do you see that's good? And he said, oh, there's things that are good, but we need to focus on what isn't good to make it good. And I was like,
Your mom was an auditor.
How do you do that?
but they don't understand. Many people don't see that need to focus on the positive. I like that smile, Kamran. What's on your mind?
I was looking at the clock and it says 10:32, and I said to myself, we're coming close to the one-liners that you usually invite us to.
So you're excited to get off the show and not to be on.
Quite the contrary.
You got your thought, Carla.
Yeah, Carla, that was not a happy thought.
No, it wasn't. And it didn't make me happy to hear what he said about getting to the one-liners.
His eyes are on the watch, on the clock, or whatever.
Yeah. Kamran is just excited thinking about the next time we will all be together on MindPlore.
Pastor Billy, I owe you coffee. All right. So
you owe him more than coffee right now.
Can you send that by Western Union? Because I just finished my coffee and I need a refill.
Will do.
He can send you money by PayPal and you can get a cup of coffee.
I have too much money. I'm trying to give it away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See, I knew Carla would perk up when she heard that.
No, I didn't. Am I that sad today?
No, you're good. We love you. We love you, Carla. We love you. And we even like you. And we're glad that you're happy. You make us all happy with your craziness.
Okay, well, I have to be crazy. That's me. Okay, Rubina, you have a one-liner to do. Not a one-liner, but a quickie, because Cameron will just disappear on me.
No, it's going to be almost a one-liner. Like you said, that it's how we look at things and how we look at life. So it's Tony Robbins saying that life is not happening to us. Life is happening for us. So it's just our perspective of looking at things and looking at the life and the blessings we are having.
Thank you. Shivali.
Smile. Smile is the key to happiness. So that's why I've been smiling. So what do I do? In all situations, I must be full of gratitude and be happy and smile. Yes, it's okay to sometimes cry, but that's a part of human emotion. Just as Kamran had said, that nature shows us various aspects. We are part of that beautiful world that we live in. So let's share whatever joy we have with others. It multiplies. Thank you.
You're welcome, Pastor Billy. Notice I'm putting Cameron last.
Okay, yes. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Kamran, she's putting you last because you're her favorite. That's why you're going to be last, because she loves you the most.
And also because he'll leave after he says anything, whether I have anything else to say.
Yeah, well, here's my concluding thoughts about happiness. God loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. All right, Kamran, that's your intro.
And Pastor Billy, that is your all-time line. From the very beginning, you used to tell me that.
Yes. All right. Good. Kamran.
Kamran, you have 20 lines to give.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn about what positive attitude is, you have the glaring example of Pastor Billy before you. If you can't learn from him, God help you.
Thank you.
Now-
Yeah, you made me very happy. Thank you. You all make me very happy. Rubina, Shivali, Kamran, and Carla. Thank you very much.
Kamran, do you have anything else to say?
Yes, I love you, Carla.
Ah, but Kamran, you said be careful of that 1 hour mark. We started late, remember?
I know. I just wanted to patch up by saying this.
Anyway, people, it is time to finish off MindPlore. Next week may be a little crazy, but we should be having something. I think today is Rubina's last time for a while. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
So we won't have Rubina. I'm sure I'll have Shivali. I better. And hopefully Pastor Billy and Kamran will come back, whether I want them to or not. Wait a minute, I said that wrong, but that's what I mean. So we are going to wave goodbye. We will be back next week. There is some traveling coming up for me, so I am not sure. I will be missing a few shows, but the show will continue. And with that, by the way, the show is 3 years old in November.
Wow.
Happy anniversary.
I've been doing this for 3 years.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Still
The
watching.
celestial number 3.
The what number?
The celestial.
Why
It's a
is it?
number.
Why
It's a
is it?
special number. That you have to, you'll have a show on that now. 3, the number 3.
Okay, and Pastor Billy left.
He used the opportunity to run away.
Let's
Kamran
wave goodbye. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Bye. Thank